Welcome aboard, everybody. My name's Captain Nipson, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, we are playing the brand new, well, at this point, fairly new, Digimon Story Time Stranger. So this is probably my game of the year, or Expedition 33. I'm a huge Digimon fan. I love the games, and I've already played this game once through as a blind playthrough, and now I'm going to come back and play with some of my favorites Digimon that are in the game, and I'm going to play it on a higher difficulty just because the base game itself is, there's a couple challenging fights, but it wasn't super challenging. So now I'm going to play it again for y'all, and we're going to experience the game together. So before we get started, the reason it took so long for me to start posting and recording is, unfortunately, my computer did fall victim to the Windows 11 bug that wiped my hard drive. Completely sent me back to zero. I had to rebuild everything. I do keep most of my files backed up on the cloud and stuff. Also, I have physical backups. However, those backups aren't all inclusive. So for those of you who are looking for an update on Legend of the Dragoon, I am recording episodes. All of my save data was lost, so I've had to go back in between playing other games and work, and then me and my wife both being really sick with a upper respiratory infection at separate times. Really kind of just prevented me from being able to sit down for a long enough period of time to record more than like 30-40 minutes at a time. So I apologize so much. Thank y'all for sticking with me if y'all want to keep watching that. But there have been episodes recorded. They are going to be released the same day I'm recording this, I hope. If not, it will be like the following Monday. And we'll go from there. But back to this game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this game. I'm not going to harp too much on the whole Pokemon versus Digimon thing. I'll just go ahead and say this. This is a completely different genre, or really a different style of creature collector than Pokemon. It is much more of a JRPG. The storyline is very intense. The combat is more involved, and the overall just characters are fleshed out more than your standard Pokemon game. You'll see as we play the game how different it actually is from Pokemon. So for those who are, wanting my take on the Time Stranger versus Legend ZA, basically they are both in the creature collector genre, but that genre itself is so vast and wide that they're really not similar games outside of you have some creatures fighting for you. But unlike Pokemon, this is a little bit more, has a lot more adult themes, I should say. Not that Pokemon doesn't have adult themes, but this is way more apparent as we play through the story. I'm not going to give any spoilers on the story. I'm going to act like, I'm going to treat this as it's my first time playing. I'm not going to talk during the voiced over cutscenes. I might make a comment here and there, but for the most part, if there's a character with voice dialogue, I'm not going to talk through it unless they just say something really funny or I think of something, because there's a lot of voice acting and a lot of pretty good voice acting. There's some bad voice acting, and we'll all poke fun at it. But let's get started. Okay, my controller was not wanting to act right. So I've played it on balanced games, super fun. I don't think your average gamer could hop into this. So if you were considering playing this game, first off, go download the demo. It covers like the first 2-3 hours of gameplay, like truly. And If that doesn't get you interested in the game, then it's not for you. That gives you a taste of the combat, the story, some of the characters. And if you're still not feeling it after like 2-3 hours, I would say don't get the game. However, if you play the demo or just watching this kind of gets you interested in playing the game, I would, if you're not a diehard creature collector or a JRPG fan, hold off until this goes on sale. I'm hoping it'll probably around Christmas or New Year's, or because it's so new, it might take a couple extra months. But, I think it'll be okay. And I would wait to go on sale. I personally went ahead and paid for the Ultimate Edition of the game. I have absolutely no regrets. In fact, I even went so far as to buy O Child of Fate, bound to the endless cycle of death and rebirth. That is such a fast cutscene. Okay, so I played as the male in my first playthrough, so we're gonna play as.
Be careful.
These are their voices.
Please.
We're gonna play as Hanan. No. We're gonna change our name. I'm gonna go with my wife's online character name. Also, in this game, you can change whatever character you play as.
Preparations complete.
On the fly. So, if I don't want to play as the girl, I can swap to the male character, or vice versa. And there's also outfits, so, it's kind of fun to see what everybody looks like.
Take your seat and wait for the show to start. A story about the natural laws of the world is about to begin.
That is a fantastic opening to the game.
Uh-oh. Looks like we've been overdoing it a little lately. The world is starting to wake up to our existence. Ironic, really. A secret organization that hunts down urban legends is becoming an urban legend in its own right. If that anime you just saw gets too popular, you can forget about going around dressed like that anymore. I'll go ahead and put in a request for budget for a new uniform. But for this mission, you'll need to keep a low profile. Is that clear, Agent? Now then, are you already aware of the anomalous phenomena that have been observed in this city?
Alrighty. So we're just going to go through all the dialogue with the, the quest progressing ones last.
Paranormal occurrences that can't be explained by today's science. It's our specialty, remember? Similar phenomena have been confirmed in Japan's Shinjuku area. It's a routine mission. You know the drill.
So probably my biggest complaint about this game is like at the character selection screen, you heard both the main characters have like some voice dialogue. At this point, I think they should just go ahead and make a canon voice for the characters. And I know a lot of people, they don't like having in JRPGs, sometimes they don't do voiced main characters because they want the player to insert their own, you know, voice to the character. Personally, I think at this point in the game, it would do so, or in the Digimon Story games, it would make so much more sense to have the characters have like a quote-unquote canon voice. And then if you wanted to, you should be able to go, you could go into the settings and just turn main character voice off. You know, that way you still have the experience. But I mean, it would, that's probably my biggest gripe about the game, honestly. That and how grindy it gets towards the end of the game. If you don't know what you're doing, it can get very grindy. Or if you don't do what I did and just pay the $9 for the special edition, you know, dungeons and all that stuff. We'll get to that later. But I mean, honestly, just given, you know, the main characters, their canon voices would be so good to just to hear them. And then if you don't like it, turn it off. I mean, and also that would open up, you know, potential for, you know, people to mod their voice, like voice actors into the game, you know. Probably a little
I know it's been a while,
legal.
but come on. I relay orders and info from HQ, and you handle the investigation in the field. Regulations forbid me from sharing my name, but you can call me Operator, as usual. Getting back to the mission, are you already aware of the anomalous phenomena that have been observed in this city?
Alright. And as I was saying, like, you know, and the modding, hopefully the modding community for this game is going to blow up because, let me tell you, if we could get people to mod in Digimon that aren't already in the game from like some of the other Digimon Story games or Digimon World Next Order, I know that the graphics would not line up because the jump in graphical quality from Cyber Sleuth to even with the DLC to now is miles apart. But it'd be really cool to see some of like everybody's favorites get added in the game. And they are doing DLC release of additional Digimon. However, I mean, it's paid DLC, which if you bought the Ultimate Edition like I did, you get access to some, not all of them, I believe. I think the ones I didn't get were like they came with the Deluxe Edition, like Agumon and Gabumon Bond Edition. But they're gonna add, I think each DLC adds like 5 new Digimon, and by the end of it they're gonna add like 20 or 30 extra. And there's always the chance of, especially as popular as this game got, they could always add in more, because I mean, honestly, this is like the perfect jump in point to Digimon. But let's continue with the story, because there's a lot of cutscenes in this game, so be prepared for a lot of just listening to people talk and me just kind of being quiet. And if y'all want me to speak up during cutscenes, I will. But to me, I want y'all to experience the story without me, you know, talking in your ear and being like, oh, he's annoying.
Inexplicable explosions, sightings of mysterious life forms, localized earthquakes, abnormal weather patterns. There's no shortage of strange reports. All typical anomalies, so it's time for Adamus to step in. The top brass have high hopes for us, I'm told. So, I'm hoping we can make this mission a repeat performance. I personally wasn't satisfied with the results of our last mission, since we let the target escape at the last minute. But the higher-ups really value the data we obtained during the mission, hence their high hopes for us today. Our organization. Adamus is a special investigation bureau that looks into these kinds of anomalies away from the public eye. This mission is no exception, of course, so do take utmost care to maintain secrecy and remain hidden. I'll send the coordinates to your Digivice. Check your map and approach the target location. Again, don't blow your cover. And let's pray that the anime from earlier doesn't become too popular. Now then, it's time to start the mission. I'm counting on you.
Alrighty, let's get started. So obviously we're in a recreation of Shinjuku. It's pretty accurate, honestly. I have been to Shinjuku. Me and my wife went there for our honeymoon. Spent 2 weeks in Japan. Honestly, fantastic. It's so freaking cool. This is a pretty close approximation of like different exits on the Shinjuku station and stuff. So right now there is some sort of crisis going on. Sorry, but the station's currently off limits. We've been told that public safety is in the middle of an operation. So basically there's something going on that we're trying to investigate. All these people are going to be talking about, like, you know, oh, I can't go to work, school shut down, things like that. Ancient Alpha is a good anime. Did you know it's a remake? The older version has a lot of core fans in the animation industry too. And so they finally remade it. The staff that was involved in it must have been so happy. So he's talking about the anime that we literally were just watching on that screen right there that looks to be very similar to ours. You know, who we are. First things first, I'm changing this outfit. You got the default, you got the Cyber Sleuth outfit, and then you got the uniform of a certain school. And then these are DLC that come with different things, you know, public safety suit, very stylish, very nice looking. Tomboy swimwear. Chosen Children outfit is Kairi's outfit from Digimon Tamers, or Adventures, sorry, not Tamers. Season 1. And then this is a Gatomon costume, and it is adorable. I did not get the deluxe edition, or the highest one, because it came with these 3. I could buy these individually, but I'm not a huge fan of buying cosmetics unless it's like something very specific. But we're gonna go with the school uniform just because I don't know, I like the Cyber Sleuth outfit, but I wore the Cyber Sleuth outfit a lot in my first playthrough, and it definitely didn't look like this on the male character. But well, let's continue the story, because this is a long tutorial. What I consider to be the tutorial is fairly long. So we'll just keep on trudging along, following the little quest mark. If you ever get lost, you can hit, for me, I'm playing on an Xbox controller. If I hit the options button, or it pulls up a larger mini map in the center of the screen. And then you can, you know, you can follow around like this. It's pretty see-through. And I think you can even adjust it to make it more see-through. But regardless, there'll always be a little quest marker or something, as long as you have an active quest. So, right here is popping up. This guy can give you text messages. This is basically like where you can talk. NPCs will, you know, they'll message you, or, you know, if a new quest pops up, like a side quest, they'll text you and be like, hey, I need your help, you know, come meet me here, yada, yada, yada. Treasure chest of materials. Those are like things lying around in the overworld that you can interact with. For me, if I hit left trigger, oh, I can't do it. Never mind. It hasn't unlocked that option yet. Okay, here's a tip. So this is probably one of the most annoying places to find in a game, is this cafe. That's because in just a little while after you complete the first, like, chapter, this intersection, it becomes unlocked, so you can go this way. And so on the mini map, when you pull it up, it just looks like one solid blue line across. But the cafe's entrance is right here. And I'm saying this because it took me a while to find it in the early game, because there are a couple side missions that require you to come here to talk to somebody or meet somebody for the first time. And once I figured it out, obviously, it was super easy. But I can remember running around the overworld areas looking. And that's probably another gripe I have, is that each entrance isn't really labeled on the map. Now, if you go to... Wrong button. If you go to... Let's see. One of these has the map. Nope. Not the Digimon. That's the quest. Is it here? No. Okay. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, I think I'm wrong. I'm sorry. I thought there was a way to pull up a big map of the whole area, but I guess that is something else I'm thinking of. And anyways, so you just kind of memorize which of these is which, because they will not tell you when you walk up to them. You'll have to go through the checkpoint, like good lord, sorry, I can't think. The door of each area to see where it leads to. I think that's probably something else, like a super simple fixed mod, like a better map. I mean, that'd probably be like one of the first things I, add to the game. Or I know somebody's probably already gonna do it. Okay. Didn't notice these guys the first time. You can tell this is in Japan because if this was the American military, these dudes would be decked out to the nine with, weapons, actual weapons. And these people would not be within 30 feet of these very advanced looking trucks. I mean, I don't know what kind of truck has what looks to be a jet thruster or some sort of laser cannon on the back, but it can't be good. But yeah, just talking about the game, how it's very gorgeous. It's very rich. The colors are popping. Even in like the darkest areas of the game that are, like all grays and blacks and doom and gloom, there's still so much vibrance to the overall world. I'm going to be quiet now because it's about to start talking again.
I see you've reached the specified coordinates. Give me a sit rep.
Alrighty. Well, this looks like some kind of protest.
Yes, apparently. The government never fully explained why they closed off Nishi Shinjuku with the Wall of Hope. The official explanation is that some equipment exploded at an underground construction site. But a wall of this scale for something like that? That clearly doesn't add up. Hence the angry crowd demanding some real answers.
What exactly is that wall?
It's called the Wall of Hope. There was a big mysterious explosion in Nishi Shinjuku 8 years ago. The wall was built just after that, ostensibly for public safety, but the truth remains murky. The phenomena we've been sent to investigate are seen most often around this wall. Best to assume we'll be investigating what's on the inside as well.
Alright. Crowd's been confirmed around the target coordinates.
You can really feel the fear and anger of the crowd. Our studies indicate an odd correlation between an increase in the frequency of anomalies and heightened social unrest. Anomalies have been occurring exponentially more often of late, at a rate only seen a handful of times in history. And though we aren't sure why, almost all those precedents were accompanied by complete societal collapse. Be it from an epidemic, a natural disaster, even war. That's why we're in such a hurry. But in our haste, I'm afraid we've alerted the world to our existence. Nevertheless, our ultimate mission is to uncover the causality between these anomalies and the horrible tragedies that follow. Try investigating that area a little further.
Alright. So let's continue forward. So, I mean, this just looks like Attack on Titan. And, I mean, if somebody just built a wall like this in the middle of Tokyo and gave no explanation, I would absolutely be like, they're hiding something. Alright, so we gotta talk to this guy to progress the story. You're obviously hiding something. Stop making excuses and just tell us. Are you part of the protest too? Don't hold back. Get up there and make yourself heard. This dude steps out of the way, and then we now have a very clearly defined path. I don't know what kind of crowd just has pathways like this, but every big crowd I've ever been a part of, you just gotta shove your way to the front. Nobody's just gonna have a clearly defined path like this. Let me knock some people out of the way. But yeah, I mean, just look at this wall. I mean, they're still obviously building it, but I mean, why? That was my first question. It's like, what is going on here? Because, I mean, like, somebody would have, you know, climbed the wall or snuck through or something and leaked it to the, you know, the outside.
Are you all right?
That tremor just now was likely one of our anomalous phenomena. I managed to narrow the target coordinates down, thanks to some videos from 8 years ago. Footage of the anomaly in this district was uploaded to the internet back then by some civilians. The actual videos have since been removed, but the comments still remain, and they tell us that those videos were all recorded in areas that are now on the inside of that wall. Check again to see if there isn't some way to get beyond that wall.
I mean, officer, I swear, the barrier, there was no barrier when I got here. Look, no, that clearly I'm being invited in. I mean, clearly. Also, this is definitely in America. This little flimsy barrier? No, that would never hold up. If these guys were actually having a riot, Americans would have just stormed this stuff. That's how I know we're in Japan. Because, like, I'm going to tell you, Japan, if you are not from there, and I'm sure everybody's heard the stereotype of how orderly and peaceful it is over there, it is night and day. Like, if you talk to anybody who's been to Japan, like a foreigner, or quote-unquote gaijin, as we're not so nicely referred to, there's a reason people hate Americans, and thankfully, I really think me and my wife did a pretty good job of being respectful in everything, because we try to follow the rules to every T. If we were accidentally too loud and somebody gave us a look, we were immediately just, you know, bowing and saying "Gomenasai," and just apologizing, and we got along with it. Which I'm not gonna explain what my tattoos are, but I have several very large, prominent tattoos, and if you know anything about Japan, they're not a huge fan of tattoos. I didn't have a single problem, really, in Tokyo. When the scene's over, I'll keep talking.
An update. I'm sending you an additional mission. Someone is requesting aid near the target coordinates. That person had already been approved to contact your Digivice. Normally, I'd assume that to mean they're a member of the organization. At any rate, do what you can to keep whoever it is safe.
Alrighty, a mysterious person, you say. Uh-oh. It's our first Digimon!
It seems you've discovered some phase electron life forms.
Digimon.
Phase electron life forms are mysterious organisms, often found in the vicinity of anomalies. Adamus has been studying them for years, but the truth of their nature still eludes us. The analysis department at HQ finally decided on a name for these creatures in a report they put out the other day. Going forward, they're to be referred to as digital monsters, or Digimon for short. Naturally, we won't send you out defenseless. I'll transmit some firepower to you right now. The connection will only allow me to send one, however, so make your choice.
Are we about to have Dark Souls in the Digimon universe? I'm going to send you some firepower. Okay, so the 3 starters for this game are Atamon, Devimon, and Gomamon. My first game I chose Patamon because I love him. He is a little burnt loaf or toast with wings. He is adorable, and he was one of my favorites in growing up watching the original Digimon. However, this Devimon, he's my real favorite. He is the best Digimon in this lineup. And Gomamon's fun. I like Gomamon. He's cool, he's chill. He wasn't my favorite growing up. I have since grown to respect him playing other Digimon games. His natural Digivolution line, super solid, super fun. But I'll explain the difference between the 3 Digimon. So Digimon usually have one of 3 types. So if you see under Patamon's name, you see the little cube and it says data. Then on this one, you've got like a little spiky ball and it says virus. And then on Gomamon, you have the little almost like teardrop with the face in it, or like a meteor, or I don't. It's a vaccine type. I don't know what that symbol's supposed to be. I should at this point, because it hasn't changed in 30 years, honestly. Those are your three main types. So the way it works is data beats virus, virus beats vaccine. Or, I'm sorry. I'm completely backwards. Virus beats data, vaccine beats virus, and then data beats vaccine. So that's kind of like your trinity from, your starters. Fire beats grass, grass beats water, water beats fire. That's the same thing. Then you have some other subtypes, which if you come down to below the stats on Gomamon here, you see a couple other extra symbols. It looks like an egg with the horn. That means it's an armor evolution / egg evolution. Those came up in season 2 of the anime. They usually are they're usually attributeless, so they're not necessarily strong or weak against, excuse me, I have the hiccups, against the three main ones. The little sun looking thing next to it, that is variable. That means they can have, depending on certain effects and statuses, they can become pretty much any one of the three main types, or they have attacks and skills from 2, possibly 3, depending on what level of variable they are. And then the other 2 are in training and baby. Unlike, I don't want to compare it to Pokemon, but that's the easiest conclusion because Pokemon is just that well known. Unlike Pokemon, where most of them only have 3 evolutions, Digimon can have up to 7 different stages depending on which Digivolution route they go. That's also the biggest difference, is Pokemon have one fixed route. Like Pikachu will always evolve into Raichu with using a Thunderstone. Gomamon will not always evolve into Ikakumon. He can Digivolve into so many other forms, and that's why, and some of them don't make sense. That's where everybody's like, oh man, Digimon just doesn't make sense. You got to look at it from the sense of, it's not like a natural evolution like Gomamon. You could, like, its natural line is something that kind of makes sense, like Gomamon becoming Ikakumon, which is like a giant, even bigger, fluffier version of Gomamon with the spike. Essentially is kind of what you're looking at for him. That makes sense. However, this little dude becoming a giant sea serpent doesn't really make sense. But the way Digivolution actually works in the canon way, outside of the tamers, like Digidestined or anybody with a Digivice, the way it works is Digimon have to fight and beat opponents out in the wild, and whenever they beat an opponent, they get some of their data, because Digimon are made up of data. And so what ends up happening is they get different chunks and pieces of their opponents they beat, and over time, eventually the data they have enough data saved up that they become a new form. And essentially, what happens is, that's kind of how, whenever they get to that certain point, the data will compile and transform, and they will digivolve into a new, stronger form, and it kind of closely matches whatever next form is available. So it goes baby, in training 2, which they're not in most games anymore. Those have kind of been condensed down to 1. Then rookie, champion, ultimate, mega, and then for some very special Digimon, which is the most powerful of the most powerful, you have Mega Plus, or I think that at one point they were called like perfect or perfect megas. In this game, they're just called Mega Pluses, which are usually just like special forms that in the anime only last a certain amount of time. And in this game, they're pretty much just permanent, which I think is cool. I think it'd be kind of annoying to have to, every battle, choose the option to obviously go to your next more powerful form, unless they made it like a time limit thing, which in other Digimon games, they do let that happen, and it works in those games, but I like what they did in this game a little bit better. But anyways, that kind of breaks down Digivolution. The elemental resistances, that is another type of stuff, like another type of type matchups. So obviously Gomamon being a sea beast, he's going to be strong with water type moves. So he's strong against fire, which is indicated by the circle, and he's weak against water. Or I'm sorry. Yeah, he's strong against fire and he resists water. Neutral to grass, which is a little bit like, it's not like Pokemon. He's also neutral to ice, which makes sense. And he's strong against electricity, which also doesn't make sense, but I think that's how it breaks down. And then earth is next to that. He's neutral. Metal next to that. Wind, neutral. Holy, dark, and then null. He's all neutral against. So that's kind of a general breakdown. This game has a very good tutorial. I'm not going to open it and read it, but it basically breaks down how everything works. But we're going to continue with the story, and I'm choosing Digimon because I'm choosing my favorites. All right. Okay. So, like I was saying, me and my wife went to Japan, and I wore tattoos, and it's pretty... Oop.
Here we go.
First
Contact
battle.
with hostile Digimon confirmed. Digivice activated. Execute the Digimon summoning program.
Yes, Digimon gives you a blicky. That's why it's so much better than Pokemon. Oh, I'm gonna throw a Pokeball at you? No. I'm just gonna shoot you with my laser gun, essentially. Then it's also my cell phone. Like, come on. Oh, and then here, yeah, of course, they bring up the basic tutorial. I couldn't remember when they did this. This kind of explains the damage output. Basically, the higher the damage multiplier, the more damage you do, and it goes into all the way down to 0. There are certain moves and stuff that render all forms of attack, useless for a turn or two, and there's bosses with cool mechanics, and all this. But this tells you where to go find the tutorials on the attributes, elements, and traits. We're going to continue. So, Digimon, the way combat works here is you can guard, you can use an item, you can, if you have more than 3 Digimon in your squad, you can swap out different Digimon for your others in your reserve team, and then your skills. So right now, Digimon comes with one skill, Dimi Darts. That's his iconic move, and it hits all enemies for base power of 25, and then recovers equal damage to 15% of the damage inflicted to all the Digimon. So it adds up the damage, multiplies by 15. That's how much HP you get back. Pretty useful. If you hit left trigger, it analyzes the enemy Digimon. You won't learn about their elemental resistances, and you won't see what their special skills are until you have either fought the Digimon enough times, or you have done damage of those elements, and it will reveal that to you. Obviously, the attribute resistances, that automatically tells you, but he's a rock. He's made of rock. And his traits are medium size and mineral, so that's something else that affects Digimon, but it's not as important as elemental resistance. Those just kind of give you a hint of what their elemental resistances are. There's a lot of different traits, so don't expect to memorize those. Like, it's just ridiculous. It's better just to go and hit these guys. So he's a data type, so we know that we're going to be strong against him. I'm just going with the basic attack. Wham! Look at how cute this little dude is. Look at that smile. You cannot tell me you would not want him as a little buddy. Anyways, so like I was back to the tattoo stories about Japan. I didn't have any problems in Japan with my tattoos, and we did go. See, look at that animation. That's a pretty cool animation. You get 13 HP back, which not great. But he does 134 with the basic attack, so we're gonna hit him with the basic attack. But you know, you always kind of hear stories about people like shunning foreigners with tattoos and stuff. I didn't really have a problem with that. Most of my tattoos are, well, some of them they're large, but they're mostly tame. My arm one is a little off-putting. It's very out there. Nothing, you know, inappropriate or lewd or anything like that. It's just it's just dark fantasy. Let's put it that way. My left leg tattoo is nothing but anime, which, yeah, I'm a weeb, whatever. And so that one actually got a lot of positive attention in Japan because, first off, I'm in Japan. I have some of the most iconic animes on my leg. I've got One Piece, DBZ, Neon Genesis Evangelion, Berserk, Akira. I've got a whole bunch of different animes on my leg. And so we went in September, which is towards the end of summer in Japan. So I was wearing shorts in Tokyo most of the days. And I never really got any...
The public often calls them ghosts or monsters, but we've decided to define phase electron life forms as Digimon. The Digivice enables interaction with such beings. A critical function is the Digi attack. It allows you to command your allies to hit hostile Digimon with a preemptive strike. Go on, give it a try.
Alrighty, so this basically tells you you can get like sneak attacks on Digimon, and it just works by hitting the right trigger.
Good.
So that was Koromon. We're gonna fight one, just so y'all can see how cute these guys are. Because I think most of the in training and baby Digimon are really cute and funny. So he is a vaccine type, or no, he is a no type because he's still in training. He evolves into usually vaccine types. We'll go ahead and use Shadow Clone. But yeah, so most of my leg tattoo, I got a lot of, you know, positive recognition, even from Japanese, just randomly. But the only negative interaction I had is we were on the bullet train. No, we were just in Tokyo riding the Yamamoto line, and we got on the train, and it was kind of like in the middle of the day, so there weren't a lot of people. And we sat down in one of the few seats, which had a sweet older Japanese lady. And after me and my wife sat down, we both have tattoos that were visible. She would not look us in the face, and very quietly and quickly just stood up and grabbed her bags, which she had multiple bags of, and then moved to the opposite side of the rail car. And that was she just refused to look at us. And we hadn't said anything. We weren't talking, but that was probably the only thing.
Good.
That, you know, would be a negative experience, because otherwise we planned our trip around, you know, going to places that were tattoo friendly and things like that, which is fairly easy to do, and especially with how popular Japan is as a tourist destination now. You know, if you're curious or you're thinking about it, if you don't already watch them, I highly recognize Chris Abroad. He does great YouTube videos on like traveling Japan, different places to go that aren't necessarily the most touristy things.
Well done.
He'll show places off the beaten path, things like that. And he's also just very informative about everything. He also has, like, you know, good restaurant videos, things like that. We made a list of a lot of places based off of stuff we've seen in there. And then also Sea Dog VA. I think there's a couple others we made lists from. And they really had a lot of videos and stuff about, like, places you can go.
The target coordinates are just ahead, but there appears to be an obstacle in your path. Your Digimon should be able to remove it easily. Give it a try.
Like I said, there's a lot of tutorial in this game. But yeah, I mean, as far as like the whole tattoo thing, didn't have a problem. We weren't told we couldn't go anywhere or anything like that. But yeah, basically around the maps, there will be, if you use the analysis screen, they usually pop up. There will be rubble and stuff that's interactable. Uh-oh. What's back there? and you can just use your Digi attack function to break it. That's a Metal Greymon. That's a blue Metal Greymon. We're not gonna beat this. We're gonna run. Because ain't no way me and my Demi Devimon are gonna beat this dude. Just ain't happening.
Over here! Come on! This way! Run! Hurry! Okay. Let's go.
Who are you?
Thank goodness we finally found each other again.
Huh? So she's apparently knows us. I mean, we're wearing the same uniform, but if you don't have the deal like the deluxe edition, you'd be wearing your standard outfit, which is it stands out. We'll put it that way. I don't, you know, there's a couple things to be said about it. So all these are going to progress it. Obviously, my first thing is like, do we know each other? Because we haven't seen this lady.
Huh? Enough with the jokes already. Now is hardly the time, don't you think? Hey, where did he go? Wasn't he with you? Well, maybe he went on ahead. Come on. We need to hurry up to the roof of the government building.
Alright. So, I don't know who he is either.
Seriously, what's with you? I mean, isn't a war supposed to break out? We have to get to the roof of the Tokyo Metropolitan Government Building.
I'm guessing she's the target for our additional mission. She's not making a whole lot of sense, though. It's highly probable that she's been affected by an anomaly. What I still want to know, though, is why she was already approved to contact your Digivice. I'll check the database again. If I learn anything, I'll be in touch right away. Even though she piques my interest, we need to do something about that giant Digimon first. We can't allow it into the city. For now, please proceed with the primary mission.
Alright. So a couple things. Apparently she's with some guy that we're supposed to know. We still don't know who she is, who the mysterious person she's talking about. Also, there is no way we're taking on a black Metal Greymon. Or blue Metal Greymon.
It's no use. This door is stuck. But a major conflict is going to break out if we can't get through it soon, right? Isn't there some way to open it?
I wonder. Oh man, it's gonna... You got...
There.
Yeah, but also you said something about a war?
Oh,
Like...
Don't scare me like that. At least give me some warning next time, okay? We should be getting close to the government building. We have to stop the fight that's about to start on its roof.
Okay, she clearly knows more than what we do, you know, going on. Check around, you get different materials, which are these things like gray texture, gravel dataset, things like that. See, I mean, look, how do you fight something that's, I think, canonically, like, 35, 40 foot tall? I can't remember how, and he looks bigger than the normal War Greymon size, a little bit. But here you can get a good chest, which... Skill disc. So this basically explains, so the item you get is a skill disc. So it's just like TMs and Pokemon. Wrong button. They give you that one for a very specific reason. Obviously, like most JRPGs, they give you like a special skill early on. It's because a boss type is going to be weak to it. So that's kind of their hint of like, hey, ice moves are super effective against some of the things you're about to fight. Might be worth, you know, putting that on your your first Pokemon. I mean, first Digimon. Good lord. Not gonna say Pokemon. But yeah. Also,
Over there.
you can attack this
There.
and whack it, and you get some items. Another cool thing that the main character, the male main character, was just talking about is regeneration mode. So basically, instead of having to go back to like a healing center or resting or something, if your Digimon are injured, you can just, after a fight, just stand still for like 10 seconds, 12 seconds at max to fully heal all your Digimon back from 1 to 100. If, let's say, a Digimon faints or / dies in the fight, they revive with 1 HP, so you don't have to use like a revive. They're called revival capsules in this game. You don't have to use those, and you can just sit still and get your Digimon all the way back to 100 HP before moving on to the next fight. If you are finding that you are having to rest a lot between fights, it's probably a good, and you're having like just against regular enemies, not even like mini bosses and bosses, it's probably a good idea to do a little bit of leveling up, which you can do through one of two ways. We'll continue with the story, but I'll explain it as we go. You can fight and level up your Digimon, which Digimon have levels, but they all, unlike Pokemon, their max level is completely dependent on something called talent, which we'll explain how to level up here after this. We're going to watch this cutscene first. It's my boy Omnimon.
Are you...
Alright, so now we can put up a fight. Basically, Metal Greymon Blue is virus type, he's an android, and he's an ultimate, which is 2 stages above us. Okay, Omnimon over here, if you don't know anything about Omnimon, first off, he's from the first Digimon movie in America, which was actually a mashup of 3 OVAs in Japan. That's why if you watch the American version of the movie, it's split into 2 halves, and they kind of don't have anything to do with each other than being Digimon and having the same characters. But Omnimon is the fusion of War Greymon and Metal Garurumon, and he is like the original, like, most badass Digimon. Literally, he's called Omnimon, or depending on your localization, Omegamon. He is the final, like, form of of 2 of the most popular Digimon. And he's just a badass. He's really powerful. He's a member of a faction called the Royal Knights, depending on which which continuity we're talking about. But he's also like one of the most fan favorite Digimon out there. You play the card game, he gets like a new card like almost pretty much every other release set, where he gets some support. He's one of the favorites continuously in popularity polls. I mean, I can't blame him. He's the most. Yeah, no. See, this is why you couldn't beat him. We did 54 damage. Needed 200
Never
guns.
see it coming. Send in sword.
That's a cool attack animation. All right. So she gave us some HP capsules. So this is important. Digimon do not lose their turn even if you use an item. You can still do another action. So you can heal.
Please?
And then you can do a different action. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to guard.
Got it.
Because we can't win. We're not doing damage. We'll just let Omnimon just tank the crap out of them. I mean, even guarding, that still did 200 over half rate.
Sword!
Alrighty, and we'll heal up again,
Please?
and we're gonna guard,
Got it.
and we're just gonna let hope Omnimon, you know, can take this dude out.
It is time! Supreme Cannon!
Yeah, see this? See, I mean, come on. And he's been
Leave
knocked
this to me.
I think it's scripted to do 2 Transcendent Swords and then 1 cannon. Yeah, I mean, look at how awesome. Wait, no, don't go. How are we supposed to stop a war without you,
He might have
Omnimon?
started already. I sure hope that he's okay. We need to hurry too.
So she obviously wasn't talking about Omnimon. So that's not the he that she was referring to.
That Digimon just now is the largest ever observed. Anomalies are harbingers of further tragedy. Odds are there's more, and worse, yet to come. We have to nip this in the bud. That's our mission.
I'm just gonna do copy that. Because, like,
I'm counting on you, Agent.
alrighty. But I mean, yeah, I don't know what... Realistically, what the hell are you gonna do with a Demi-Devimon versus an Omnimon? If we have to stop Omnimon, it's just not happening. You know, he's literally like one of the more powerful Digimon. Not the most powerful, but he's on up there in all of his myriad of forms. They're all, you know... I think canon, I don't think there's any one form that's stronger than the other, except for the Royal Knights version of Omnimon, which is like canonically like the OG, like the most powerful Omnimon. I think. Could be wrong on that. Not 100% on Digimon. I had been to this building in Japan. It's the Tokyo Metropolitan Building. You can go and...
It was recently discovered that Digimon had characteristics of both organic matter and electric signals. Your Digivice uses the electronic aspects of Digimon to summon them into action. The Digivice can also convert the Digimon equivalent of DNA into binary code, which can then be replicated like data. We call this system of creating new Digimon converting. Try using this feature to augment your forces.
Okay. Nice. So this kind of goes over how you can get more Digimon to join your ranks. Talks about conversion. Basically, you have to fight them and you get scan data from each Digimon you fight. Depending on which form and which like training or level they are. So like Koramon's in training too. You get, I think it's like 50 or 100% scan rate for them. And the higher you go, it gets less and less until like Mega/Mega Plus, it's 5% per fight. So it means you have to fight that Digimon 20 times in order to get 100% scan rate. And it goes up to 200%. So the 200% gives you, if you kind of look right there at Koramon's HP total, it's 499 out of 499. The little blue parentheses are bonus stats. And so when you get to 200% scan rate, you automatically get 100 extra HP. If the Digimon if you have a Digimon you think you want to use in combat or try out, do your best to go ahead and get it to 200% because that 100 HP adds up quickly. It scale because that's another thing about Digimon. As you train them and level them up, their stats they are, what's the word I'm looking? Exponential. Basically, whenever he digivolves, that 100 HP will go to like 110, 120. It's not a fixed 100. And as you fight with them and level them up, you'll get more and more bonus stats by doing different things, and eventually you'll be able to just min-max, if you so choose to, min-max Digimon. But we're going to go ahead and convert Koromon, because I do need a Koromon on my team. And not for Agumon, surprisingly. Although Agumon is one of my favorites, in my first playthrough, I actually played. Just look how cute this little dude is. I played with a black Agumon into Omnimon Zwart
Defeating
mode.
more of the same type of Digimon will improve its analysis and boost the scan rate required for conversion. Once the scan rate reaches 100%, you'll be able to convert that Digimon and add them to your ranks. The closer the scan rate is to 200%, the stronger the new Digimon will be, so be sure to convert at a good time. It's also useful for anomaly analysis, so be sure to actively engage in combat to improve analysis and scanning.
Alrighty. So this is such a long tutorial. This is actually a pretty good spot to stop for this episode. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop right here, and we'll pick up the next episode. But before I do that, I'm going to save, and we're going to save over my other save file. Okay. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank y'all for having patience with me. If you're a subscriber, life just been a little crazy. But if you're just here for the first time and you like what you're seeing, comment, like. If you really like what you're seeing, subscribe, because I am still going to do my best to keep pumping out more and more videos. Luckily, I'm about to enter what I call the dead season for my job. We get pretty slow as we enter the winter months where I live. Work just kind of slows down just because it's we're so weather dependent on what we do, that if it rains or it's like really really cold, we can't work outside, so we end up just having a chill day. So I won't be as busy with work, and when I come home from work, I won't be exhausted from digging holes all day for fiber internet. And so we're gonna call it here, but thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Oh, they'll let me get out. Thank you. All right. Bye bye.